Hi guys, for anybody who knows me, they know that I do not like sitting in front of a camera or any sort of video equipment and speaking. So you might be wondering, why am I doing it now? Well, there is a reason. As we all know, for the past few months there's been a film out with a plant-based vibe. It's The Game Changers, and it's causing a great deal of kind of controversy from both ends of the spectrum. It's billed as plant-based, but obviously the vegan community are heralding it, and the omnivorous community are berating it. I'm a bit stuck in the middle with this because people will know, well, some will, that I was actually filmed for this documentary twice. I was filmed in 2013 and in 2016, but my footage ended up on the cutting room floor. I don't want to go into the reasons for that because honestly, truthfully, I don't know. We've had back, from the filmmakers that, lots of people were caught, including Tim Sheaf. Ooh, Tim Sheaf was caught. So, I can't really comment on that. It's their film, their money, their audience. I don't really know. A lot of people have said that the film, don't worry about it, Fiona, because the film is about plant-based, encouraging people to go plant-based. And you are not plant-based, you are vegan. So I will just tell people that I've been vegan for 47 years. That's basically everything that my life is constructed around. It's being vegan. Everything I do is tied up with that. Yeah, I'm cool with that. But what I'm not cool with is the fact that I have had a lot of abuse and kind of a lot of detrimental suggestions for my veganism based around this film. People saying, it's horrible to hear that YouTubers are going out there and saying, that the athletes that were cut from the film were actually cut because they could no longer sustain any sort of performance. They were getting ill on a vegan diet, like Tim Sheaf. So they've gone back to eating meat, and they're all a lot better now, thank you. Oh. Well, I mean, what can I say to that? I can't really say anything. I mean, it's just lies, ridiculous, and evil tongues. As for comments, that somebody in the film has now taken it upon themselves to hand out turkeys, dead animals for Thanksgiving. Again, I can't comment. I don't really know what's going on. But somebody wrote to me recently and said, could you have a look at this podcast? This guy called Joe Rogan has done this podcast with this guy called Chris Kresser or somebody about taking the film to pieces. So I haven't seen The Game Changers, but I thought, well, I better kind of put this podcast on and see what they're talking about. And do you know what? I was completely and utterly stunned. I really was stunned how they can be allowed to get away with it. So I don't know if anyone will ever watch this podcast or video or whatever you call it, but I just want to make people aware of a few facts, because what they are peddling is lies, and those lies to me are very hurtful because they could be very detrimental to the animals, and that's actually all I care about. So the first point is the vegan children. They stated a case of, it's tragic, a vegan couple brought their child up vegan. It was found to be malnourished and sadly died. I don't know what's going on with that couple. I really don't. But I can say that I was a vegan child and I've grown into a very healthy vegan adult, thank you. I'm on no medication. I don't actually take any supplements, and I am very, very healthy, and I do live a very energetic and hectic lifestyle. The second point was that they say when people go vegan, as a lot of people in that film have done, and that's the point. Even though they're saying that this is a plant-based film, it's being used to the detriment of veganism. They definitely call it vegan, these two guys. Vegan honeymoon? This is some honeymoon I'm on, guys. 47 years. I'm a bit of an old bride here. This is one honeymoon, So that's just ludicrous. You can't sustain performance and you won't stay healthy and you might get a performance spike as a placebo but then it'll go down. Okay, yeah, let's move on. The next thing is that they talk about, okay, you might be able to do well at sport, but you've got to micromanage your diet. Ooh. Now, if anyone knows anything about me, the last thing I micromanage is my diet. I feel that we are extremely blessed, and I've always said this, to live in a country, I live in the UK, where food in terms of volume is not an issue, and the regularity in terms of you do know where the next meal is coming from. Apart from that, I live very basically on a whole grain diet, seasonal, local, and cheap, basically, and I always have done. There's never been anything. There's no fancy shakes, no fancy additives, nothing. Very, very basic diet. So when they talk about sort of it's going to be you've got to micromanage it, it's going to be very price inhibitive. Another point is that going back to, I was a vegan child, but I was a vegan child not in a vegan family. My parents both ate meat. None of this has been pushed upon me at all. But I come from a very poor family. My dad was actually a miner in the mining industry, and he was on strike fighting for his job for a lot of my childhood. And we were told that if your family is going hungry, we were told to go to a soup kitchen for food. So micromanage your way down to a soup kitchen for food. So there's nothing exclusive about my diet, and there never has been, and to be honest with you, there never will be, because actually it's perfectly adequate and sustains everything I need it to do. So what do I need my diet to do? Well, I need it to allow me to get up at 3:30 every morning and start caring for 500 rescued animals at my sanctuary. That's the main point. That's what I do. I have an animal sanctuary. I started that sanctuary 25 years ago. And I soon realised that I could rescue animals all day long. I could take them out of these vile industries, exploitative situations, but it's not going to stop the bigger picture, the cruelty. It's not going to stop what's going on out there. So I can give these animals sanctuary, but I can't help the ones that are the 70 billion that suffer every year. So how do I do that? Well, at the time, the only thing that I could think of was probably through sport, because I'm quite athletic and quite strong, physically strong. And women's sport never gets much attention compared to men's. But the one thing that in the UK was getting attention was the marathon. It was being billed as this tough, extreme event. And we got a British runner, Paula Radcliffe, who was doing very, very well in the event. So I kind of thought, okay, if I can just complete a marathon, that's got to prove that anything on a long-term vegan diet is possible, surely. So I set about training for a marathon. It wasn't easy for me because as a teenager, I had an orthopedic problem, which led to multiple surgeries and my right kneecap being removed, at which point I was told that I would probably not walk properly again, but definitely not be able to run. But I thought, okay, I was told that, teenager, I've been told a lot of things. I'll have to just go out and see if I can. It was never my intention to take it to the level that I've taken it to. And what level have I taken it to? Well, I've got 4 world records. I've run marathons in every continent. I am the fastest woman to do that in both time elapsed to go and do it and actual running time. I've run at the North Pole and won. I've broken course records around the world. And I've won events from 5K up to multi-stage races. I've got the versatility, I've got the recovery, I've got the longevity. I've been doing this for almost 2 decades. Now, back in 2004, interestingly, I saw an opportunity. I'd qualified to run on the elite start of the London Marathon, which is a fairly big thing. I was going to be shoulder to shoulder with this woman that had actually inspired me or, introduced me to this event, Paula Radcliffe. And so at that point, I was running for a vegetarian cycling and athletics club, just, purely because you got to run for a club to get on some of the starts. So then I decided, okay, with a guy that was also in that club, Peter Simpson, that we would then start the Vegan Runners, a strictly and solely vegan running club to showcase veganism positively, proactively and peacefully. That's what we're all about. And that's 2004. I'd qualified for the elite start. interestingly enough, a couple of months ago, I thought, oh, I've got a spare Sunday morning. I'm not sure what I'll be doing next year because the sanctuary does take up a lot of my time. I'm down to run the Marathon de Starbul, toughest foot race on the planet for the 4th time. But if I can't get there or something goes wrong at the sanctuary, it takes, 12 days away. Oh, I might go for an age group win in the London Marathon, but I've got to qualify. I'll pop off and do that. Not having run that distance for 10 years, one chance, and I'm back on that start again this year. Versatility, results, got it all, longevity. There you go. That's what I wanted to prove through the running. Well, people might say, well, hang on a minute, you're not world class. I never said I was. I've never made any of the claims that anybody made. All I can tell you is my story, what I've done, and what I continue to do. That's the very important thing. I've been doing this for decades and I'm still doing it, and I'm doing it well. And I really don't need a couple of guys there that know nothing about true veganism to sit there and just dissecting and peddling lies to millions of people. The classic one, oh, it was brilliant. They were talking about what they're going to do to change the world. They agreed that, intensive farming is very nasty. So what we're going to do is we're going to move all the animals outside and it's going to micromanage the planet and the environment. Oh, my Lord. All I can say to that is you obviously have never been around animals, because if you had, guys, you would know what it takes to care for these animals. And I mean care for them properly. Where is all this grass that you're going to put them on? You're going to move all these animals that are kept in these atrocious conditions, and you're going to move them outside and you're going to put them on grass, and they're all going to live very happily. And then when it comes to time, they're going to go to the slaughterhouses and be quite happy to lay down their lives for humans to eat. That's not going to happen. It's not going to happen, because there's no animal out there that wants to die. Even if you've bred it, you think you've got the right to take the life of that animal because you bred it to kill it. That's not right. As soon as it comes onto this planet, it's got rights of its own, and you should leave them alone. I mean, this rubbish they're talking about, oh, but these animals eat the crops that we can't eat. Well, don't grow them then. Don't grow them. Grow sensible crops that everyone can eat. And that's another thing that really disgusted me. To ram their point home about the quality of the proteins in meat against plant-based, they brought up in such a cavalier way starving people in the third world. Now, to be honest with you guys, if you want to get really upset about something, you want to get upset about the fact that there are people on this planet right now who are starving, who are malnourished in millions, and that's because what we are doing in the West with animal agriculture. So, I haven't listened to the rest of the podcast because I was just that sick of it by that point. But just to recap, it's really difficult for me because the Game Changers has massive reach, and there are lots of issues in that film that aren't being addressed, and nobody's getting to know that there are people out there that have been vegan very, very long term, that live extremely energetic lives. I'd like any of those guys, come and spend a day at my sanctuary and do what I do, and it's all well documented on the internet. So to say things like, oh, veganism's just a trend and loads of activists have jumped on the bandwagon to get YouTube and Instagram fame, that's trivialising something that is monumentally important. My life has stood for, and I've done everything I can with diplomacy and dignity to fight for animals, whether I'm caring for them here or I'm getting out there and I'm proving what can be done. I've never made any claims. I realised that was not going to work. They're quite right in that film. They do say any statistic can be manipulated to favour one or other angle. And that's the truth. It can be. That is the truth. I never set out to create statistics or to make claims. I just set out to show the world what is possible. And I am still doing it. So when you talk about sport and you talk about athletics or whatever, and you talk about performance, please don't just swipe under the counter those of us who have really been doing this very, very long term. I've grown up vegan. I've performed vegan. All my muscle mass has been built on plants. It always will be. And I will continue to do what I'm doing, even though nobody might ever hear of me. I'm not bothered. If one animal somewhere can benefit, if one person comes to me and says, I saw what you did, you've inspired me to consider plant-based or vegan or whatever you want to call it, in a positive and rational way, then my job's done. I don't know how much longer I've got on the planet, but I'm going to keep trying. But please, please, when you are challenged with these stupid lies that these guys are raising, silly points, that, I mean, you know, the ridiculousness of saying that, you know, more animals die in crop growth for humans than in animal agriculture. And they've got the voice. They're getting heard. Like 5.5 million people listen to this twaddle. I would suggest you turn it off and go and do something proactive that's going to benefit the planet. And that's probably my idea behind this. My idea was just to start changing the way we think. No, it's not just about what we eat. It's the way we think, the way we view the world, with the way we respect each other, with the way we respect ourselves, and the way we respect the animals. That's what veganism's been about to me. And as I say, I can't get my message out there. I haven't got like 44 million followers. I'm not in the Game Changers. But you know what? Doesn't mean to say I don't exist. Anyway, thanks for listening. Bye-bye.